if I even connecting this to the Crenshaw conversation, there's a lot happening with these decisions, and schools, the back to school season is right here. We have to find a way to make sure our communities, of course, school would be a great place to do this, but our educators are inundated with so many curriculum goals and things like that. But we have to make sure our communities are aware of what has changed, if not just this year, but the past almost 2 years now, and how this will impact us. Because with the voting rights decision and this decision right here, it continues to disenfranchise us in ways that are, seemingly unimaginable. And I want to again remind people that we are in an era where these things feel very benign, but they impact us sometimes even more because we don't see and we cannot label the entities that are attacking us. We come from a people who understood, if I pass this line, I'm free. If I take these chains off, I'm free. If I'm able to tear down this sign, I can go in. But some of those same forces exist today, but it's a lot more difficult for us to attack it because we don't see the label. We have to begin to name these things clearly for the people in our community so that we can mobilize around these issues, if not for anything, for our kids.
I know we're coming forward in just a minute, but I got to take this opportunity just to bring to everyone's attention something very important, and that's this. In the last 6 weeks, we have heard Tavis Smiley advocate for change in the Crenshaw corridor. And now we see action. There would be no action if Smiley had not advocated for it. When we raise our voices and we come together and we shed light on a dark place, things begin to change. And that's what happened at that church when the local media began to cover it and the mayor began to respond and other elected officials began to respond. And I might add, even on the Nolan Wells case, we haven't heard a damn thing from Mississippi yet. They just wait us out till we get quiet. But then the voice of Don Lemon and hundreds of other voices on social media won't let it go. And so it's becoming increasingly clear that you may have a platform, you may have followers, but if you're not using your platform and your followers just for 6 weeks to advocate for justice, my friends, you too are part of the problem. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580. We're in the classroom with Ernest Krim. It's Moving Mountain Monday. More when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The midterm elections are upon us. It is voting season once again. Common Cause's motto is fighting for the democracy we deserve. In service of that goal, Common Cause puts its state and national policy expertise, massive network of grassroots supporters, and nonpartisan approach into action to strengthen our democracy against the challenges we face today. They work at every level of government on priorities that impact each of our lives, like defending the right to vote, limiting big money's influence on our elections, holding public officials accountable, and more. Common Cause is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. They seek to empower all people to make their voices heard in the political process. This election may be the most important one ever. If you'd like to make a donation or volunteer in service to the Constitution, please visit commoncause.org. That's commoncause.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Knock, knock, Capital One Bank guy.
Wow, Charles Barkley?
I just moved into the neighborhood. Can I borrow some Wi-Fi?
Sure, Chuck. That's what the Capital One Cafe is here for, open 7 days a week.
Oh, can I use your ATM? My dog walker only takes cash.
Anything for a neighbor.
Can I try the catchphrase?
Sure, take it for a spin.
There's no fees and minimums on Capital One checking accounts.
Nice, Chuck. I'll take it from here. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Visit CapitalOne.com/bankguide for details. Capital One and name member FDIC.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
While Gavin was telling the story about the mural at LAX, I kid you not, Gavin, somebody just texted me a photo of it. See, this is unacceptable. That inside of LAX, they have a mural. These gorgeous, beautiful pictures of Destination Crenshaw. It don't look nothing like this. We don't know when they're going to restart or when they're going to finish, but they're marketing and promoting this inside of LAX. It's not right, y'all. It's just not right. You can't exploit us in that way, right? Get the project done, then you can brag about it. But can we finish it first?
Keeping them in check. We're KBLA, Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the beat. Come on and talk to me. Come on and listen to the beat. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It is Moving Mountain Mondays. In the next hour, Reverend Terry Hord Owens is our regular contributor on The Faith Not to Fall. I want to talk with Terry today about definitions. Why rich people get tax breaks and don't have to do anything for them, but poor folks have a work-study program and they call it welfare. Both federal benefits, both come from the federal government. But for rich folks, it's called a tax break. But for us, whenever we get a break from the government, we have to work even harder just to earn the break that we get. We'll talk about that in the next hour. But in this hour, Ernest Krim is our regular contributor. And I'm particularly honored that Ernest Krim is our contributor on Moving Mountain Mondays in the classroom with Mr. Krim. Mr. Krim, welcome forward to the show.
Thanks again for having me, bro.
Ernest, let me ask a question. What are parents saying in this environment? What are they saying, Ernest?
You know, I think that the overwhelming feeling that a lot of parents have right now is a feeling of being just what I said, overwhelmed. It's a lot to have to grapple with. I was just in conversation with a principal and administrator about a week or so ago in the Chicago public school system. And her concern as a parent and administrator was the fact that they didn't know if they were going to have their budget in time for when school returned. And because of that, you know, their teachers and administrators weren't going to be able to have their typical inflation raise, right? And then also, too, the issue of are my children going to then have everything and everyone they need when school returns, right? There are some schools now across the country, Chicago, beyond, where they'll also be losing because of the population drop or decline, assistant principals, for example. So I think for parents, especially you think about the summertime, you have your kids for 2.5 months straight, and now you want to get them back into the routine of going to school. The question is, the concern is one of being overwhelmed, but the question also too is how much of this school dynamic is going to change for my kids, and also too how much of what's in place right now is actually going to help our kids, considering the political climate. Because with all of that even being said, you have a lot of social services being cut, and who's going to be responsible for solving that issue? Local PTAs, for example. But you also have a demographic who's losing jobs more than any other population right now.
Ernest, I'm thinking that given this date in August, that parents are dropping their children off for school, that they are trying to get things together to ensure that their child has a first day of class that is memorable, that is thoughtful, and that prepares them for a future that, who knows, their parents may not live to see. But there's a lot of love, there's a lot of prayers being offered right now for families in this environment, hoping that ends are met, parents going to work, not wanting to worry about what's taking place at schools. And the burden then shifts really, again, to teachers, to coaches, to others, not only to educate, but in some cases, to provide basic things to students that they should have learned at home. What does today's student look like entering class in 2026?
Oh man. We have a group of students who, in my mind, are recovering from a generation, we're talking Gen Z, Gen Alpha, where they were giving a very powerful tool at their disposal without any regulation or regard. And we're talking about cell phones now. There are various states across the country now, including Illinois, where students are coming back to school now where they won't be allowed to have these tools anymore. We, in my mind, sacrificed our kids' mental health and their ability to socialize properly because we gave in too quick. As adults, we have a hard enough time stopping ourselves from scrolling. What do we think was going to happen from 2012 to 2026 or even beyond that for some places where we just give it to kids without any regulation, right? So we are in a process now of not just making sure our schools and communities are aware of what's happening politically, but we have to also re-engage our kids on basic social skills and what it means to be in a social setting. What does it mean to connect with your peers? What does it mean to treat people right and not as if you are an anonymous person in a comment section? So that's another burden, because the 12 years I was in the classroom, to me, compared to when I was a student, and this is the only thing I can compare it to, but those 12 years felt like 24 because I wasn't just teaching. I had to manage all of the other issues that came along with having 20 to 30 kids also engage with the outside world while I was trying to create my own utopia in the classroom. But I am grateful that they will exist in some places in an environment now where they can actually focus on the issue and begin to rebuild. But for our kids who are in the last 15 years or so caught within this social media experiment, we have a lot of work to do to help them out moving forward.
A New Mexico court ordered Meta to pay an additional $567 million, bringing the total penalties to $942 million over findings that the platform harmed youth mental health. So these students are coming. The students are coming to classes with their Facebook pages and with their Instagram pages, posting and not necessarily reading or studying. They're developing how to use their thumbs, but they're not developing critical thinking skills. And now some of the states are fighting back. For the crib?
Yeah. I will just propose to people who are listening now, I'll never forget one year. I would say this probably was 2021. It was my last year in the class. And I would always have my kids do like a Who Am I project where they would have to create a collage of things like that. And there was a couple reflection questions at the end. And I had one student, she was a Black female student, so probably about 16 or 17 at the time. And she put in her reflection that she attempted, suicide over the summer. And that was something I will never forget. One, because she felt comfortable enough to share that with me, but also two, because I don't think it made me reflect on how much freedom we gave our kids to the detriment of their own mental health. We didn't have to deal with these issues, y'all, millennials, Gen X, boomers, and we have to do everything we can, not just for the political rights, but also to help them better socialize and help them understand what they dealt with.
I'm thinking in real time, Ernest, that our teachers' hands are full, and we ought to have a real rally for teachers, supporting them for the work that they provide at home. Ernest, thank you for joining us on the show.
Thanks again, brother.
I can't wait to see you next time. Up next, The Faith Not to Fall with Reverend Terry Hort Owens. We're going to talk about definitions today. Definitions. You're going to want to hear this show. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Michigan Democratic U.S. Senate nominee Abdul El Sayed says he hopes former President Obama will campaign for him.
We talked a lot about what it'll take to win. Obviously, his presence here in Michigan would mean so much.
El Sayed told NBC's Meet the Press he spoke with Obama after last week's primary win and called the conversation inspiring. A federal judge in Virginia has blocked a school board from restoring Confederate school names. The ruling says Shenandoah County violated Black student civil rights by reinstating Stonewall Jackson High and Ashby Lee Elementary. The district was ordered to rename both schools, but the board plans to appeal. And jury selection begins today in Las Vegas in the murder trial of Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, accused of orchestrating the 1996 killing of rap legend Tupac Shakur. Prosecutors are relying heavily on Davis's past statements about the shooting. He has pleaded not guilty and says those accounts were fabricated to sell books. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Recall 67A mobile appointments are now available in your area. We come to you quick, easy, and under an hour. Complete the recall to get $500 plus a warranty worth thousands. Schedule today at CummonsRecall.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers have generated some sad numbers over the past 2 weeks. Their 4-2 loss Sunday at Arizona capped a 1-5 road trip. The Dodgers are 1-8 in their last 9 games, and they are 5-10 since hanging out with Trump at the White House on July 23rd. The Dodgers are back home tonight to start a 3-game series against the Kansas City Royals. The Rams expect to have an answer later this week from defensive tackle Aaron Donald on whether he's coming out of retirement to rejoin the team. The 35-year-old Donald has been working out at the Rams facility. Rams head coach Sean McVay has not put a deadline on Donald to make a decision, although it appears Donald is getting close. The 10-time Pro Bowler retired after the 2024 season. NFL sources claim Donald wants to be sure he can play at a high level before telling McVay he's ready. Stay tuned. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. August 5, 2026. Dear LA City Council President Marquise Harris Dawson, on behalf of a coalition of businesses and residents that constitute the Crenshaw Corridor community, we write to request that a concrete timeline and resources for fully completing Destination Crenshaw within a year be developed and announced. A year is the outside time it should take, and we hope and expect that it can be finished considerably sooner. We also request the immediate establishment of a business interruption relief fund for the merchants, entrepreneurs, churches, and property owners who have borne the disproportionate economic burden of the prolonged delays associated with the Destination Crenshaw project, and a resident relief fund for the residents of the corridor who have been most adversely affected by the prolonged construction and delays associated with this unfinished development. Destination Crenshaw was presented to this community as a transformational investment in Black culture, Black commerce, and the future of South Los Angeles. It has now been